about who you are, let's say. Who you are, what you have going on, if you've got a book coming up, you do courses and things like that too. So let's kind of get into that to begin with.
Well, that's a funny question because like part of what I'm teaching now, right, is how we're like these infinite multidimensional beings. So when you ask who are you, it's like, which one of me? No. So I have always been inspired in different ways by what is possible and how much magic can we really open up to, right? And when I began my career as a creative muse, I was a wannabe artist. Like I grew up such a wannabe, like so jealous of all my friends who could paint or draw. And actually when I opened my art center in '96, like literally opened the doors, opening day, I still never painted on a canvas, right? So like most of the people who I work with are so afraid of the blank canvas, and it's like, I've been there. I was still there when I even opened the art center. Actually, when I went to the art store the first time, because someone suggested kind of, snidely in Nashville that maybe I should paint if I was gonna open an art center. I'm like, okay. So I went to the art store and I bought an easel, like that felt easy, but then I bought a big pad of paper and oil pastels, because I still was not ready. And as I liberated myself creatively and, overcame any fear at the blank canvas, I expanded into more and more of what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. And then that's what my students at the art center got, even if I wasn't the teacher. Right? Like they'd come back to art class and they'd have what I call the bug-eyed experience. Like we'd connect as they were walking up the sidewalk and they'd go like this and I'd go like that and they'd say, guess what I did? I've been meaning to do it forever. So that's what I love, like just liberating people, freeing their minds from the I can'ts, I shouldn'ts, I have to's, and getting into I want to experience this. I want to feel this, I want to explore this, and I want to do it because it's just in my heart. Like it's just infusing me with this energy and giving them permission to follow that. And so I teach that at the canvas. The canvas just becomes symbolic, right? It's the vehicle, it's the medicine.
Well, let's talk about why you started doing what you're doing. What led you? Because I remember you talking, I got to see you on Saturday, which was fantastic. It was the first time I myself had ever painted. Immediately went to the store afterward, got paint, canvas, all of that, and now I'm, I'm converted. But so I remember you saying on Saturday that you were selling books for summers, like before you actually started this and such. So what was the defining moment? What did that moment feel like and look like to you?
Right, so I was reading a book called Zen and the Art of Making a Living, and literally I was selling books door to door. I'd spent 3 summers knocking on doors, just walking up to a neighborhood and knocking on doors, and it's like this total mythical, experience. And I wanted to figure out what was next. Like I didn't want to sell books forever. And so I'm reading the book Zen and the Art of Making a Living. And I remember as soon as I even pulled out the book, I'm like, okay, I know, do what you love and the money will follow. Like this Cinderella story that will happen for other people, but probably won't happen for me, right? And in that book, he quoted Nietzsche as saying, art is the proper task of life. And he said, most of you will think this has nothing to do with you, but this book will insist throughout that unless you adopt an artist mentality, you will not be able to create the life of your dreams. And he was not talking about painting on the canvas, he was talking about taking responsibility for the role we play in creating our lives. And this is way before quantum physics and anyone's talking about this, right? And so I was pretty convinced, 3 years out of the University of Michigan selling books door to door, traveling around, living somewhere different every 4 months, that life was a lot more like a blank canvas than a multiple choice test. So my next question was just, where does one go to develop this artist mentality, right? Because I'd been such a wannabe, and it was just difficult to get into an art class that I felt comfortable in. There were prerequisites in college or registration deadlines when I was a nomad, and it was not easy. So literally, after all of that, there was the light bulb, like lightning bolt, voice from heaven, this is what I want you to do kind of moment. And it was to open like the YMCA for the right brain, so people could come and make art in order to then be more empowered to go back out into the art that is their life and create the change they wanted. And immediately it was like, that's what I'm meant to do. And you know, Liz Gilbert in her book Big Magic talks about ideas being alive. It felt like in the process, I went out and sold books again. I sold a ton of books and came back with cash, so I didn't have to write a business plan, which is probably a good thing for the life of the Art Center, and opened the Art Center. And it felt like the Art Center, this whole idea of using art to develop this creative side of you that had nothing to do with the art, right? It had to do with your life. It was an idea that wanted to come through, and I just kept getting, this is gonna happen with or without me. So do I wanna be on this train, right? And I was like, I wanna be on this train. So in between freaking out, like, what am I doing, you know? I understood that this was something that I had an opportunity, if I chose, to bring into the world. And that's how it's always felt. It's always felt like kind of this out-of-body experience, you know, like I am just the vehicle. And I think it's perfect that I was a wannabe artist. I still have no formal art training. Like, that does not matter at all.
That was another thing on Saturday that was pretty profound that you said. It was, you mentioned that you didn't have the training, but you mentioned it so cavalierly, if that's a word. You mentioned it in a way that I feel like the society that we live in right now, you have to come to the table with these credentials, you have to have these certificates, you have to have your proverbial shit together, right? In order to then say that you are this person. Rather, you're sort of breaking that paradigm or breaking that thought process altogether and saying, no, we come with these gifts. You don't need to be certified in any sort of thing in order to bring the gifts that you naturally came with, right?
Right. And I've been coaching people for years on the fact that energy is the new resume, right? Like, I could have this incredible resume with all this training, you know, psychology and art and all this, and I mean, I can't even do it, but like deliver it, you know, like, yeah, so you go to the canvas, right? Like right? So it's like, who cares? You wouldn't want to work with me. You wouldn't want to interview me, as qualified as I might be, if I didn't have the energy. So it's like the enthusiasm and the joy and like what's coming through you, if it's something you're passionate about, the only reason you're passionate about it is because you're meant to be a part of that, you know, pot of energy. Like, that's for you. That's why it triggers that energy of passion. Things that we're not meant to be involved with, we may feel strongly, you know, about world hunger or saving the whatever beetle or something like that. But like, it's like, yeah, I'd love to save the beetle, but it doesn't really turn me on, right? So that's not my life purpose, right? Like, you are meant to follow your joy and your passion. And then however that manifests in this physical reality is really up to you, right? You get to choose. And I think that's the most exciting thing right now for people to understand, is whatever you think, you're right.
Because that's a fantastic segue to something I wanted to talk about anyway. Let's talk about your book. What is this book that's coming out? So now she's selling books.
I'm still selling
But she's
books.
selling her own books. So tell us about this book.
Yeah, so this is my third book, actually, so it is funny. I've been selling books forever. So this book, Rise Above, Free Your Mind One Brushstroke at a Time, I love it so much because it's like, the question for me writing this book was, how can I love you as much as possible through this book, right? And I don't know anyone who wouldn't choose, you know, the magic wand that helps them rise above whatever's been holding them back. And then to understand that we're only trapped by our own ideas. And most of the ideas we're trapped by are the ideas that were introduced to us when we were like 9 years old around the dinner table, right? Or by a frustrated teacher, like the art teacher who told me drawing wasn't my thing, right? So we're operating from these old stories without even being aware of it and telling ourselves that we couldn't possibly do that thing that's attracting us because we're not this enough or that enough. Those are all just stories. Those are all ideas that have as much value and as much weight as you give them, right? So in the book, each chapter is a different energy or a different feeling. And we start with freedom, because for me, that's a huge value. Like, I want to be free to express myself and live the way I want to live. And I've, gone through different variations, hues of that energy, and understanding that the freedom comes from understanding that we create our reality, that you, no matter what's going on outside of you, whatever your bank account says, whatever relationship you're in, whatever your body looks like, whatever it is, all that you're limited by is by your own thoughts, and you, from within, can create anything you want. Now, I'm not saying it's like, oh yeah, that's easy, because otherwise we'd all be doing it. And it's available. So the book takes you through a process of just getting to know this kind of new creative paradigm, and understanding that what I guide you to painting on the canvas is simply symbolic. It's energy work, it's learning a new language, the language of symbols, and understanding that we have ultimate creative control, nobody else. It's the end of the victim mentality. It's permission to love yourself radically, to pursue your passion, because that's your medicine that you're meant to bring to the world. So the book is gorgeous, just popping with color. My first book, I wanted to save the left-brainers and have it be available in the boardrooms. And you know what? Those people, they're not in the art section of the bookstore, right? So this is for you who have either always painted and loved art, you who've always wanted to paint. Trust me, it's completely available to you. Those of us that just love sparkle and glitter and color and are interested in kind of up-leveling our own internal hard drive. It's kind of like, if you tried to run a current computer program on your computer from 10 years ago, like, it wouldn't work, right? So, let's do that with our own internal systems. We just have these neural pathways that have been forged from years and years of thinking, a good wife does this, a good mother does this, a successful entrepreneur does it this way. Like, who says? You get to say now, and that's what Rise Above is about.
I know that some girls here in town are going to be meeting, I believe, once a month to go through every chapter of your book and paint it out. So I suggest anybody watching this also does the same thing. Everybody needs this book. Everybody. And then just develop a group of friends that you can paint with, because that's your tribe, right? I mean, when we come back to tribe mentality stuff, it's good to have that support network, right?
Well, and with everything that's going on in the world, like you mentioned before, as we were getting ready, like, what else did you hear about Saturday? Because all the buzz with everyone who was there was how amazing everybody felt. And what did, someone said something about Beck, about her heart exploding gold glitter or something. And, that's what happens. I mean, you literally raise your vibration. So if you just think of it as that, like getting a group together to support each other's wild and crazy ideas and feed what gives you joy and create physically that energy, right? So there's something really powerful that happens. You can think of it as law of attraction. I've had some conversations around that. And actually my guiding kind of mantra for this book originally was from the law of attraction, and is, I am the sole creator of my experience, right? So in the book, there's a chapter on creating your own personal symbol, and it's understanding that words have baggage, right? So every time we say money or finances or weight or love, relationships, we have like this whole, just cacophony of experiences that up until now maybe haven't been what we want. But when you create a symbol, like my symbol for financial freedom is the hot air balloon. Okay, I have no baggage around hot air balloons and financial freedom, but I understand if I keep my vibration high, it'll be blue skies, no rocky roads, and I can help other people over those rocky spots. So you create a symbol that's attached to what you want to attract more of in your life, and then you become a magnet, right? So I love that suggestion, thank you. And if nothing else too, like if the painting is scary, it's about how about getting together with a group that with all the density going on right now, you will be this like beacon of high vibration energy and possibility.
Yes, I love it. So for more information about you, where can the people watching this video find you? So on social media, website, all of those things, if you want to share them.
Right, so if you pretty much search Whitney Freya on, Whitney Freya, it's whitneyfreya.com, Whitney Freya Canvas on Facebook, Whitney Freya, Twitter and Instagram and all those things. And I'm super interactive. Like, I'm always inviting people into free experiences, offering really easy ways to get to the blank canvas, events, I travel around all the time. You can email me. Like, I really love connecting because what I understand is the energy that's coming out of each of us, right? It resonates. And if you're resonating with this message, I want to connect with you because there's something there that you're being attracted to. And I have so much, I've been online since 2009, right? Like there's these guys I'm here working with, they're just like, oh, there's so much stuff, right? So I can help direct you, and I want to wake up that possibility and optimism. So yeah, I'm pretty easily found.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.